go. Let's get ready to go live. Let's get ready to go live. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's get ready to go live. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Why is it not showing me the update? Let's get ready to go live. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got good sound. Welcome. Brent Edwards is here. Everyone, we're getting ready to go live. Good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Hit the thumbs up. Do the thing. Like and subscribe. Oh, that happy horse shit that makes YouTube's algorithms bark like Pavlov's motherfucking dog. So today's show, today's search for deeper meaning. I think I'm just going to keep that title, then add things to the end, switch them out from time to time. Lev Kung Fu, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Today I am interested in Albert Pike. So welcome to the Frank Monday Show, broadcasting to you live from Twilight Zone Old Peking, deep within the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, far behind the bamboo firewall. Once again, like Finnegan, if you've got a yen to expand your kin, then let's get zen, you and me, baby. I don't know why it's blanking out. Not sure if I'm actually connected or not. Looks like I froze. Let's check the refeed loop. Always good fun here on Restream. It's kind of a garbage platform, but it looks like it might be okay. Yeah, kind of a garbage platform. We do have a couple of visitors. I'm grateful for that. Beloved, I appreciate you being here. Brent Edwards and Shaolin Kung Fu. Lev Shaolin Kung Fu Lao Wai. Yeah, good looking out. So, don't forget to check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Put a little something in the tip jar. Let's see, I'm trying to move these around a little bit so I remember which one to do first. Yeah, put a little something in the tip jar, guys. Keep doing good magic. I appreciate it. Puts the lead in my pencil, the pep in my step, and the jelly in my donut. Let's see, what else do we got here? I'm looking for the the adoration of Abraxas, so I'll change this one. I've got invocation of total integration written here, but instead I will type in the adoration of Abraxas. Yeah, okay, good. Let's do the thing. Holy art thou, Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, creator of heaven and earth, maker of all things visible and invisible, master of both the light and the darkness, he who was, is, and always shall be. We adore thee and we invoke thee. Send us one of your divine spiritual agents, our holy guardian angel, to protect and guide us through the innumerable snares of the earthly sphere, and a cleansing wind to disperse all negativity and endless human opinion. Teach us Teach us those secret things which we must know for the completion of the great work and the glory of thine ineffable name, Adonai. So it is commanded and confirmed. So mote it be. Amen. Hail unto thee who art raw in thy rising, even unto thee who art raw in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti, Lord of magic, standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahor abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of the night. Remember, O neophyte, goodness alone is power, silence is strength, will regaineth omnipotence, and love lieth at the foundation. Now, what have we got here? Tickers. Okay, let's add a ticker. There, let me see here. No new horror. How does the quote go by Lovecraft? Let me do a quick search on it, guys. Lovecraft quote, no new horror. I think that's how it starts. Thinking. No new horror can be more terrible than the daily torture of the commonplace. No new horror can be more terrible than the torture of... No new horror, that's what I thought, can be more terrible than the daily torture of the commonplace. H.P. Lovecraft. Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Alright, there it is there. Daily. Why does it say dearly? Did I mistype it or did... I must have been a little typo. We'll go ahead and add it. See if it works. Yeah, I'm kind of liking StreamYard's no backing type. But if I put on a ticker, can I still put on a tag? Yeah, but then it takes my name away. And I guess it takes all names away? That's kind of weird. Alright. Grand Wizard Frank Monday. Does there need to be a comma between title and name? I don't think so. I'll just drop that. Alright, save. And then we'll pop it up there. Does that look alright? Yeah, it looks alright, I think. Okay. Yeah, so one of the things I had heard about Albert Pike. So Brent says there's an Albert Pike road in Arkansas. I've been watching some of the Arkansas State Troopers catching drug runners, and those dudes are fucking tough as nails, man. Don't be fucking around in Arkansas, baby. Y'all got to be chill. If you do roll through Arkansas, realize that if you're a drug mule, you're gonna be in some big trouble with the good old boys in Arkansas. They're fucking straight laced, yoked up, wearing a big old sergeant hat, and they will pull you over and shoot you dead if you fuck around, man. That's that ain't no joke in Arkansas. I think they got their shit together better than Tennessee somehow, but I don't know. I've never lived in Arkansas, but I know that the Tennessee State Troopers don't mess around either. Yeah, so beware of that, man. But yeah, we're gonna be looking at a little bit of Albert Pike. I think I will play the Invocation of Thoth first, though, because I want to start myself a cup of coffee. I hope y'all stick around for the show today. We can go a couple of hours, and we got some other shit to do today, man. We got to do some banking things and all kinds of happy horse shit. I'll open the panel a little bit later if some of y'all want to join me and discuss some of the ideas that I look into here. Let's do this first. Invocation of Thoth by Israel Ragavi.
Invocation of Thoth. Procul, o procul esti profani, or lasti ompeda. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou majesty of the Godhead, wisdom-crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of light and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy nemesis as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dusk, and my birth is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which standeth in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein Ptah floateth over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of new. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified Ra, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountains, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Kepra, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a God sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of Ptah when he createth his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless Godhead of thy youth. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God the Vast One may be obedient unto me.
All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I went in there to start myself a cup of coffee, and it was taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. Usually only takes me about 5 minutes or so. Hey, Dr. D is here. Good to see you, Dr. D. Appreciate you stopping by. Logical Spark, good evening to you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, and whenever you may be receiving this transmission. I hope you are doing well out there in Happy Land. Y'all good looking sexy people doing your thing out there, shaking your moneymaker, getting shit done. I can appreciate it. You beloved brother from another mother can appreciate it. Old Frank Monday knows the game. We're going to have to do one more ritual, guys, in order for me to get that coffee made correctly. So I'll be right back. Please enjoy the Bornless ritual. Also by beloved Master Magician, Eternal Master Magician, Francois Israel Regardie, beloved brother in the light. Here we have
the
it.
Bornless ritual. Thee I invoke, the Bornless One, thee that didst create the earth and the heavens, thee that didst create the night and the day, thee that didst create the darkness and the light. Thou art Asa Arnepha, whom no man hath seen at any time. Thou art Iarbes. Thou art Ea Apophras Ra. Thou hast distinguished between the just and the unjust. Thou didst make the female and the male. Thou didst produce the seeds and the fruit. Thou didst form men to love one another and to hate one another. I am Anchaf Nakonsu, thy prophet, unto whom thou didst commit thy mysteries, the ceremonies of Hem. Thou didst produce the moist and the dry, and that which nourisheth all created life. Hear thou me, for I am the angel of Ptah, Apophras Ra. This is thy true name, handed down to the prophets of Hem. Hear me. Arain Theof Ribet Atheli Berset Arbelatham Arbeu Ebeu Phi Theta So A Ebe Theaof. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. I invoke thee, the terrible and invisible God, who dwellest in the void place of the Spirit. Aro go go abrao so thou mudori fal athao o Fathomless One, hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of a rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me, Ru Abra Eof Mario Dom Babylon Balbin Abaft Asalonime Arfen Eof E Photeth Abra Sax R-A-O-O-U Ishure, mighty and bornless one, hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. I invoke thee, Ma Bara Eo El Kotham Athori Balo Abraf. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of a rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. Aftam, Abaftam, Basom, Isak, Sabaoth. This is the Lord of the gods. This is the Lord of the universe. This is he whom the winds fear. This is he who, having made voice by his commandment, is Lord of all things, King, ruler, and helper. Hear me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of whirling air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. Hear me. E-A-O-U Pe-U-Re E-O-U Pe-U-Re E-Aft E-R-A-O E-O-O-U Abrasax Sabri Am O-O Oaf Oaf Adonai A-Day A-Do Angelos Ton Theon and Lala Lai Ga-E-R R-A-P Diathana Thoron. I am he, the bornless spirit, having sight in the feet, strong, and the immortal fire. I am he, the truth. I am he who hate that evil should be wrought in the world. I am he that lighteneth and thundereth. I am he from whom is the shower of the life of earth. I am he whose mouth ever flameth. I am he, the begetter and manifester unto the light. I am he, the grace of the worlds. The heart girt with a serpent is my name. Come thou forth and follow me, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the firmament and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God may be obedient unto me. E-R-O, Sabao. Such are the words.
All right, good magic. Yes, indeed. So here we are. Logical Spark, Brent Edwards, Dr. D, and Shaolin Lev Kung Fu. Yeah, so I asked how you guys doing. About 50 and aimless. Okay, good to see it, Dr. D. Brent Edwards says, nice deck. Thank you, sir. Yeah, let's do it. Shaolin Kung Fu says he's doing good. I can appreciate it. Let me drop this video. Keeps StreamYard keeps saying it's dropped me, so I'm not sure if oh, that's cool. I didn't notice it had it has a microphone adjustment thing. Oops, connection lost, reconnecting. I think it may be due to the fact that I've got my VPN turned on. Do I turn it off? It may connect better if I do. Maybe not, though. It does seem to still be working, though, so I'm not going to mess with it. So real quick, card for the stream. We got Moving Away from Hardship. The Six of Swords. So swords indicate the realm of mentation. Six indicate harmony and contentment. We can see here that there are troubled waters in the foreground and calmer waters in the background. This is travel, new directions, letting go of the past, and just moving away from hardship. So a lovely card. There's a ferryman ferrying a widow and son. All right, the widow's son there, as it were. Where is he headed off to? Is he starting his grand adventure? So we'll keep that in mind as we move through today's transmission, and we will move away from troubled waters. I found this little guide at school. I think it's based on the pictorial Keys to the Tarot by author Edward White, the OG guy of the Golden Dawn who made this deck. He commissioned Pamela Coleman Smith to paint 78 plates. If you think it's an easy thing to get out there and paint 78 tarot cards, I say give it a try. I've done about 15 of the tarots, like in full, what is that, like A4 with watercolor, with like sketch, pencil, watercolor and stuff. It's a lot of work, man. I think one day, I guess if I retire, I'll try to do all 78 of my own tarot. Yeah, we talked about 33 a little bit. The 33 degrees of masonry, the 33 bones in the spine. All right, so the spine has 33 bones, which is like the 33 elevations of the free mason, the free man son, right? The Fremen. So once you free yourself from the lower confines of the alchemical energies of wanting to spit out into the world, you start to rise up, right? You have the little death gets reverted into the grand ceremony at Golgotha in the skull. Six of Swords, sorry. A ferryman carries passengers in his punt, Huh, a punt? Is that a little boat? I guess a little skiff? To the further shore. Divinatory meanings include some journey by water, a route, a way, an envoy, a commissionary, and an expedient. If it is ill affected, then it's it has other ideas. I just stick with the primary ones. That's the Golden Dawn tradition. Not to read reversals. That reversals occur when a card is ill-dignified, meaning it's surrounded by other dark cards. Oh, good little thing from Dr. D, always bringing forth the good knowledge, always making huge contributions to the chatterbox. I appreciate that, Dr. D. He says that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York Gold Vault is located at 33 Liberty Street, New York, New York, 10045. Good magic, Dr. D. Thank you for that. So Albert Pike is who we're going to be looking into. There are Picophiles and Picophobes. I'm not sure which you are, but I recently heard a speaker pontificate. Can't select a window. I don't think any of these things have been able to allow you to select windows. Why won't it let me select a window? Allow Studio Stream IO to see your screen. But it won't let me do it. That's weird. I'll try again. Screen share. Performance warning. Sharing multiple screens may affect. I'm sure my device can handle it. Add screen. Select screen or window. I just want to share the whole screen. Select screen or window. StreamYard account. Entire screen. Okay, it does have a choice. Cool. I'll just have to go with the entire screen because I don't have it set up to do much else. Is it showing everything right now? Yeah, looking good, I guess. Maybe do it this way. Does that look any better? Why won't it shut that thing now that I've done it? Man, what a weird fucking thing, man. We'll see. I'm gonna watch the feedback window, guys, and see if this actually works. Okay, so this is coming from factually.co, fact check history, Albert Pike. Okay, so I heard a speaker pontificating on Albert Pike and saying that can I do this without my glasses? I think I can. Saying that Albert Pike predicted 3 world wars, and that actually wrote a letter predicting 3 world wars, and this is a bit of research into that idea. It says it was researched on December 13th, 2025, and the question is such. There's a widely circulated Albert Pike letter to Manzini that supposedly predicts 3 world wars, and it has no verifiable primary source trail in major institutional collections. Searches and Freedom of Information requests show no record of an 1871 Pike to Manzini letter in the British Library, and historians regard the narrative as a modern hoax. There are 2 citations there for that claim. We'll have to look into those. Authentic Albert Pike letters do exist in the U.S. archives. Hey, Arkansas, we're back in Arkansas with Brent Edwards. University of Arkansas, Brigham Young University, Arkansas State Archives, and others hold Pike correspondence. I guess that's plural. But none of those catalog records or institutional replies in the public record confirm the sensational 1871 letter to Giuseppe Mazzini. The claim and how it spread. Okay, number 1. The claim, a letter dated 15th of August, that's today. A little bit of synchronicity going on there, huh? Well, it's probably 14th for you guys in the States, but we're already on the 15th of August 2026 here in old Peking, because we're 12 to 15 hours ahead of most US based things. There's a little more synchronicity for you. Come on, man. What the fuck? For you, Brent Edwards. All right. Welcome back, Frater Edwards. The claim to Giuseppe Manzini lays out a Masonic plan for 3 world wars and was supposedly copied from a British Museum display, British Museum / British Library display. That story circulated in the mid 20th century. God, almost 100 years ago. Conspiracy literature and on the internet. The internet's not that old, is it? And mainstream tabloids have repeated it. The version most readers see today frequently traces back to William Guy Carr and similar sources that presented the text without any verifiable archival citation. So they basically just made it up, right? Institutional checks. Researchers have asked the British Library directly whether it holds such a letter, and it has shown not to. Has stated the document is not in its catalog, and the keeper of manuscript in Thorne's office is not cataloged there. And as far as I know, it's never been a legitimate thing. It was just a claim. Plasma Void says, Mac user, nice. Clean up that dock. What's wrong with my dock? My dock's fine, bro. There's nothing wrong with my dock. What's the matter with you? You done lost your damn mind, Plasma Void? Please explain what you're saying. All right, so where real Pike letters are held and do actually exist, primary Albert Pike correspondence held in multiple American repositories, the University of Arkansas, Special Collections, and the University Online Finding Aids list several Pike letters, included material dated from 1874. Brigham Young University, in the Tom Perry Special Tom Perry? I was thinking Tom Petty. Tom Perry Special Collections holds Pike's letters. Arkansas State Archives and other regional collections also catalog authenticated Pike letters. Those catalogs show scholars can consult real Pike manuscripts, but available collection records do not point to any 1871 Pike Manzini text alleged online. Number 4 is scholarly and investigative consensus. Serious historical accounts and research-oriented posts conclude there is no credible evidence that Pike ever wrote a letter, a 3 World War letter. Scholarly reviews and skeptical summaries find the letter appears in conspiracy-oriented outlets and is absent from academic discourse. Researchers conclude the alleged text is a hoax of fabrication. Yeah, I see that, Plasma Void. There's not that many apps. We've got the regular Launchpad. We've got, I guess I could get rid of Safari because I pretty much just use Firefox most of the time. Got Maps. I could get rid of that. I never really use that. I use the calendar. I use the contacts, the reminders. I use the music, and I use the podcasts. And I always like to access my system preferences. So there's only there's only 2 additional apps that I don't routinely use. What you hating on my dock for, man? You like a nitpicking motherfucker. You carrying it up in here? Don't be crazy like that. You're so crazy, and you're really driving me insane with your inane games. You're so crazy. Yeah, roger that. 10-4. Okay. Source verification and reproductions often lack provenance. Number 5, misinformation dynamics and why the story endures. The story endures because it fits a compelling pattern, a secret plan of the Freemasons, right? Revealed by a historical figure, and because digital copies and tabloids recycle the narrative without archival proof. Investigators have shown the supposed institutional provenance, fails a basic archival check. The library reports no such item, and this mismatch, vivid claim, absent record, is a classic marker of modern myth making. All right, shows you what a primary source might actually look like. Bottom line for researchers and readers alike. There's strong reason to treat the Three World War Pike letter as unsubstantiated. Institutional checks and specialist summaries do not locate a manuscript in the British Library, and existing Pike manuscript collections do not corroborate the sensational text. If you want to verify further, you can go look for yourself, or you can endeavor to do so. Let's see what the actual letter is supposedly said. I think there was a copy of it here somewhere. All right, here's the Three World War. Albert Pike's alleged plan for 3 world wars. We'll see if that'll open. I don't know if it will or not. But you are a slave. Yeah. Are you, though? Are you a slave master or a master slave, right? Everyone like else you were born into body. Yeah, whatever. Get a fucking life. Mission, focus, the impact. Albert Pike's alleged letter. Hey, it can read it for me. I don't think that would play over my StreamYard, though. Let's see if it does. Oh my god, it's that same inane, droning, mechanical voice of the AI. I will not endure it. I'm here to do the work for you guys, so I will read the thing. Albert Pike was an influential figure in American history, marked by his multifaceted contributions as lawyer, soldier, writer, and prominent freeman. Right? A Freemason. Born in Boston, Massachusetts, he 1809 to 1891. So 80 years, 81 years old. Is that right? No, plus 2. 82 years old. He moved to the frontier of Arkansas, where he began his career in law, quickly making a name for himself. During the American Civil War, Pike served as a brigadier general in the Confederate Army. All right, the South will rise again, leading Native American troops and engaging in conflicts that would shape the destiny of the nation. You see how the Confederates were allying with Indian tribes, Native Americans, to try to stop the feds from taking over the free states? Isn't that interesting? His military service and subsequent involvement in the complexities of the era highlight his enduring significance in American history. Pike's connection to Freemasonry is particularly noteworthy, as he rose to the rank of Sovereign Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite of the Southern Jurisdiction. It's no small thing, man. If you think you could rise to that level in Freemasonry, then give it a shot, right? His writings on Masonic philosophy and rituals not only contributed to the organization's doctrines, but also influenced various esoteric movements. Pike's published works, including Morals and Dogma, delve into the philosophical underpinnings of Masonry, offering offering insight into his vision for personal enlightenment and societal advancement. Over the years, his interpretations of Masonic principles have been both celebrated and contested, reflecting the diverse perspectives of his legacy. One of the most controversial aspects of Pike's life revolves around a letter he allegedly wrote. I would say that's one of the most controversial. No, it's not even up for dispute, really, right? So that's kind of bad journalism on whoever wrote this. This letter, which has fueled speculation and conspiracy, has led to extensive debate about Pike's foresight and intentions. Some interpret it as a prophetic warning, while others view it as a mere reflection of geopolitical tensions of his time. Understanding Pike's background and influence is crucial for contextualizing the discussion around the alleged correspondence and its implications for modern interpretations of global conflict. The alleged letter, analysis of the three world, the legacy of Pike's alleged plan, and so on and so forth. See who wrote this. Can you trust this guy? Tally 8369. I'm an ordinary person seeking extraordinary knowledge. My objective is to open a closed mind. It's been said that mind is like a parachute, works only if it's open. Hidden knowledge that people may don't have your mind so open though that your brain falls out, right? All right, let's have a look at the so-called letter. Pardon me. The letter attributed to Albert Pike, allegedly written to Giuseppe Mazzini in 1871, presents a controversial narrative that outlines plans for 3 world wars. The content is believed to forecast a sequence of global conflicts, each with distinct purpose and implications. Pike's predictions suggest that these wars would serve to weaken nations and instigate widespread social upheaval, ultimately paving the way for a one-world government. In the context of the 19th century, the political and social climate was rife with tension. The period was characterized by the rise of nationalism, colonial expansion, and the emergence of secret societies, including Freemasonry. Pike was a prominent figure within the Masonic community, and Mazzini was a key player in the Italian unification movement. Their correspondence allegedly outlined how these conflicts would manipulate social order and create conditions favorable for their revolutionary ideas to flourish. The First World War, as per the letter's prediction, was expected to be initiated by the friction between Germany and Britain. This conflict, Pike purportedly noted, would dissolve empires and create instability in the existing political arrangements. Following this, the Second World War was to emerge from differing ideologies, leading ultimately to a confrontation between fascism and communism. The aftermath of this war, according to Pike, would lead to the widespread disillusionment, not according to Pike, but according to the letter, according to the alleged letter, would lead to widespread disillusionment and a thirst for peace, which never happened. They immediately launched into a Second World War. All right, there wasn't any lust for peace at the time, providing opportunity for the establishment of a global government. Lastly, the Second World War. It says the aftermath of which World War? Okay. Lastly, the letter speaks of a third. And has there been, after World War II, was there a lust for peace? Not really. They continued to wage war in the Pacific Theater and in lots of other places, the Middle East, and nothing really plays into this. There's no prophetic trail here. Lastly, the letter speaks of a third world war that would involve the Islamic world and the Western powers, further manipulating societal divisions. The narrative frames these events are not merely coincidental, but as part of a grand design reflecting the strategic foresight attributed to Pike and Mazzini. This alleged letter, steeped in conspiracy theory, continues to evoke interest and skepticism regarding the authenticity of its contents and the motivation behind such predictions. Analysis of the three world wars theory. The theory surrounding Pike's alleged predictions of three world wars has garnered significant attention, particularly within conspiracy circles. This letter didn't actually emerge until, he doesn't give a, I don't see it here, but fostering era of individualized Pikes with pivotal movements through the 20th and 21st century. It didn't actually emerge until the end of the 20th century. So if it really was his letter, why didn't it come out sooner, like at around the time of his life? And maybe it was because it was obfuscated and hidden by the Masons. It's, holy fuck. You hear that 1980 phone ringing in the background? Someone's calling me from the ancient past. Let me go answer that. Hello? Yeah, this is. Okay. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, sure. All right. Stay on the level and keep yourself squared away. Until then, beloved Frater. 再见. Okay, guys, I've just received an update from a 1980s Freemason, and he said that this letter is basically garbage and not to waste my time with it, and to look more into Pike himself, rather. Okay, so that's good advice, I would imagine. So let's see. Albert Pike and major contributions. So we'll do that. We'll take the advice of beloved past Masons and work on current things for the glory of future Masons, right? We don't want to get too involved in the rabbit holes of garbage. Albert Pike, so he lived from 1809 to 1891. See, how long have we been transmitting? We may go ahead and open up the panel, guys, in case anybody wants to join and learn a little bit more about Pike with me. That's the topic of discussion for today. So if, let's see here, not now. Can we stop sharing? Yeah, we'll stop sharing for a moment. We'll get back into it here briefly, but I wanted to go ahead and drop the link. I think I have it copied and ready. Oh yeah, is that it right there? Studio Restream. So, join the show on the level, and may we part on the square. Looks good. See if that'll work. Cannot send that through. Join the show on the level, and may we part on the square. Blessings, beloved. Pay attention. I will not be tolerating any horse shit today. So if you do hit the link and want to wander off into Happy Land pontificating about things that aren't related to the great work, then yeah, today I've got very little patience for that, because I do want to get through some of this material about Pike. And we'll play a bit of music for the people and see if anybody hits the link. If you've got bad audio or a bad connection, we can't endure that. So try to check your settings if you do decide to hit the link.
Eagles flying high, cats on the prowl, devils in your bed, their whispers so loud. Witches on my heels, so they'll steal. Running in the dark, truth they conceal. Blood on the walls, splattering a sink. God can't help the dead, no time to think. Hounds howl at night, shadows in the light. Fear in every breath, eyes wide with fright. Cards dealt by fate, no way to escape. Threads getting tight, can't see the daylight. Blood on the walls, splattering a sink. God can't help the dead, no time to think. Cards dealt by fate, no way to escape. Threads getting tight, can't see the daylight. Blood on the walls, splattering a sink. God can't help the dead, no time to think.
Alright. That was Dweller of the Dark with God Can't Help the Dead. Make sure you guys go over there to www.youtube.com/@ Dweller of the Dark. Make sure you tell them Frank Monday sent you. Frank Monday sent you to check out Dweller of the Dark. Yeah, y'all keep doing good magic. We did drop the link, so if anybody wants to join the conversation, I am discussing the great work today. And so my question is pretty straightforward. I put it here in the, see if I can't remove that video. There it is there. See if I can't get old Frank Monday back. There he is. There's old Frank Monday. Yeah, join the show on the level and we can part on the square. If not, we're going to have an imbalance, right? The great work or magnum opus is the great purpose, the grand purpose of your life. So I just simply state the question, what is yours, right? Looks like we might have some activity in the back room. Hey, we've got a visitor. With no further ado, Brent, welcome to the transmission, man. How you doing?
What's going on, Frank? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Good.
So you're calling in from Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Haha, yellow dog in the background. Good magic.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the show.
That's fun, huh?
So,
What's the puppy's name?
that is she's an 8-year-old dachshund. That's Lily.
I'm trying to turn on my Bluetooth so I can hear you better. Give me a second.
Okay.
The fuck? Every time I touch it, it turns itself off. It's acting a little bit weird.
I wonder if I should just go on the use the mic on the tablet.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It's just stalling out a little bit. It's kind of an older computer. It's like 10 years old now. So, but it still works all right. I've had some things updated. I put a new hard drive in it, added some memory, did some other things. So I think I updated it a couple of years ago. All right, I clicked it, and it should work. Anyway, what do you know about Albert Pike? What do you think about the individual? He's from your he lived there in your neck of the woods.
It seems like it. I'm not an expert on Albert. I find it interesting, but I had heard the same information before about that letter being fake and just kind of some BS for conspiracy theorists. Seems like.
Yeah, had you heard about that letter? Did you know about that?
Yeah, I heard about it a couple of years ago. Actually, it's probably being fake. So a
Yeah,
lot of conspiracies like
go
to
ahead.
or conspiracies like to use it to kind of speak trash about Freemasonry. It seems like they like to bash the Freemasons just like they like to bash the who.
Yeah, true facts. What is your do you have any Masons in the family, or what do you have an opinion about Masonry? Have you ever
Uh,
tried to join or
I'm currently not a member. I have had some family members um, that were involved. To me, I don't see any issues with it. Um, it seems like a good organization to be a part of. I think like one of their mottos is you take a good man and make him better.
yeah, it's kind of the internal alchemical process, right, of changing lead into gold. And so, metaphorically, lead is meant to represent the dross, lower behaviors, right, like the vices and animalistic nature of the man. And then the idea of refining it into gold is that you knock out the bad stuff and keep the good, and try to refine the ancient wisdom that's been brought forward by ascended masters from the past and into the future. Masons would argue that Adam was the first Mason, right? He was the namer of all the creatures in the Garden of Eden, and then it's just Mason and after Mason, right? Moses was a Mason. Solomon was a Mason. Obviously, he built the first temple, right? And so it's just been Freemason since day one. What do you think about that?
That is a very interesting take on that. Um, as I stated, I'm not a expert on Freemasonry, and I don't know much about the esoteric part of Freemasonry. Um, but the fact that it's an organization that claims to build better character, especially in men,
Magnum opus is the grand
seems
purpose
like
of life
it's
and no
something that's needed
service.
in society today, maybe
Or
more than ever.
magnum opus. It's a
So,
different.
We have another individual joining us, Brent. This is Browns Boy. Welcome, Browns Boy. How are you doing?
another thing I would add, Frank, they
Yeah,
talk a lot about uh, these days about the initiatory process into manhood with young men these days, and how there is basically no initiatory process any longer. And it seems to me that that's something that Freemasonry could probably help out with a lot.
yeah, I would agree with that. I think that I don't know. Maybe each individual needs to seek out their own initiatory process in life. But if you're inclined or drawn toward it, um, I think it's one of the better pathways to uh, being initiated into the mysteries. It's not for everyone, like I
Right.
was raised I was raised by a Navy officer, and so I had a very structured, well-ordered youth, and I did things like the Boy Scouts and the Royal Rangers, and then
Yeah.
ROTC. But even my dad, he made me swear that I would never join the military, even though I did do a few years of Army Reserves. But in general, he said you should maintain a private life. I was watching some Arkansas state troopers, and I would say that's a reflection of Pike's influence in Arkansas. Like those dudes are squared away. I would say a good portion of them are probably Masons. And you could see that they're living upright. They have very, even though they're working as law enforcement officers, but they seem to have very refined characters, and they treat people with deference and kindness and stuff until they break the law, as it were, and they're running 40, 50, 100 pounds of fentanyl into the country from down south. It's like, absolutely grab those guys, get rid of that stuff's murdering. What is it, like 150,000 Americans were murdered by the infiltration of fentanyl into our country. And so I think that's definitely a part of the great work, is those good old boys out there nabbing the bad guys, but that's just, it's a bit of romanticism. But I think it has something to do with his influence. People often quipped that Albert Pike was involved in the formation of the Ku Klux Klan, and he denied it outright. He said, if I'd had anything to do with it, it had had a much better structure, much better hierarchies, and been far more well organized. He said, no, those guys are just loosely affiliated, have nothing to do with Masonry or anything of value in any way. But yeah, so that's kind of a funny thing.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. Most of the, especially well in regards to the troopers anyway, most of them are pretty upstanding guys. I mean, there's been some situations where maybe some things were done that shouldn't have happened, but for the most part, uh, I've personally never had any issues with a state trooper ever.
Yeah, I'll tell you one funny story I have about an encounter with a state trooper. He was wasn't Arkansas, but it was near the border. I was headed into Memphis, and
Mm-hmm.
from the Nashville direction, and I was drinking Heinekens. I'd worked all day. I think I worked a double shift, and I had to go pick someone up at the airport. And so I grabbed myself a 6-pack of Heinekens, and I thought, I have a couple of Heinekens on the way over. And I'm the type of guy that at that point in my life, I wouldn't even feel a buzz unless I had a 12-pack, right? So I don't know. I had maybe two or three, and I was doing about 120 on, what is it, I-40 from Nashville
Mm-hmm.
to Nashville to Memphis.
Yeah.
It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 2:30, and a state trooper pulled me over, and he said, "Wow," he said, "this thing can move, right?" He's like, "You were really flying down." He said, "I clocked you doing like 120," and I was like, "Oh, really?" He was a fella named Cherry. I don't know if you know the Cherries, but a black fella named Cherry. And
Uh-huh.
so I know a Cherry that's works for the PD. And he said, "Oh yeah, what's his name?" And I told him his name and stuff, and he said, "Yeah, that's my uncle." And I was like, "Damn, you're all." And he was a shorter, stouter black dude, right? And I'm like, "You're all squared away. You're looking good." And he pointed his flashlight in my back seat, and he's like, "I see you got something back there." He said, "You've had a few of those?" And I said, "Yeah, I've had two or three." I said, "I'm headed to the airport, and I'm gonna pick someone up, and then I'm gonna take them back to wherever." And he said, would you mind stepping out and doing a field sobriety, all of that. And I said, yeah, no problem. And I jumped out of the car. I said, I'm fine. I said, I'm a 12-pack kind of guy. I said, I don't really catch a buzz until maybe the 15th beer. And he said, that's all right. And he was talking about walking the line, And I said, I could walk the line, or I could give you a kung fu demonstration along the line. I said, which would you prefer? And he said, oh, you do kung fu, that old Chinese kung fu. He's like, all right. He said, you do so. He said, you do some of that kung fu, and I'll see what I think. And I busted into some pretty gnarly forms, like all the accoutrements, wild flying kicks and down into poses and stuff, and knocked out a really good dynamic set for him. And he's like, shoot holla, man. He's like, that's some real kung fu. He said, he said, yeah, that's going to get it. He said, here's what I want you to do, though. He said, slow down. Don't drink no more of that, and just be safe. And then he said, if you promise me when you get to Memphis, get yourself a room and don't drive back tonight, he said, you're good to go. And I was like, I said, yes. I said, I can promise you that. I'll head straight to the airport, pick up homie, grab a hotel, and not head back till tomorrow. And so, yeah, it was a beloved thing, that that seldom happens anymore these days, but there's always the possibility. So, yeah, I never had any problems with troopers. Troopers were always some of the highest caliber law enforcement officers. Local PD always seems to be a pain in the ass. They got a constant stick up their ass, but like highway patrol seems to be more straight shooting.
On back on the Freemasonry thing, you were talking about Memphis. Did you ever see the pyramid that was in
Yeah, I have. That's right. There's the glass pyramid. It's
Memphis?
like a hotel or something, or a convention center or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what they're using it for now, but I know I just thought that was kind of interesting because of the whole.
And then there's a bridge between from the pyramid to West Memphis between Tennessee and Arkansas. Do you know the name of that
Right?
bridge? I forget.
No, not right off the bat, but wow, and West Memphis. I guess you know what went down there. I mean,
I
back in the
don't, tell
'90s.
me, but I've heard that
Well,
that
with
was
the West
Martin Luther
Memphis.
King, right?
Well, no, with the West Memphis Three back in 1993, the three kids,
Oh
the
yeah. That's that story. Yeah, I'm
Danny
familiar.
Eccles, and yeah, so that was crazy.
Yeah,
But
so you probably heard a little more about it than me, living in that area. What did you think about that? Was like, do you think they were actually not guilty, or it seems like a lot of people still believe that they may have actually been guilty, and then
no, I believe they were completely innocent.
really, no.
Oh yeah, yeah, for completely. And I don't know if it had any. I don't think. I don't know if anybody that would have claimed to have been involved in Freemasonry or anything was involved in that. But no, the kids the three kids were completely innocent, and of course, this part, in the height of the satanic panic, and they got fingered right away, just due to the fact that they were, kind of the three outcasts in the West Memphis, kind of a small. At least at that time, it was just like a not, an extremely poor area.
Is it okay? Yeah.
And you got three kids that were listening to heavy metal and dressed in black, and one read some books that they said it shouldn't have been. It had the name of Aleister Crowley on it, so they were like, "You got to be out here sacrificing kids."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it
There's
was
a
a
lot of I think that there's among the local country folk, like the lesser educated folks and stuff. There's a lot of fear of anything other than, like, yeah, it's the Bible Belt to some extent.
right.
They're really apprehensive about any study of the occult or the esoteric. I would like to welcome Browns Boy. Browns Boy, what are you bringing? How are you, man? Browns Boy, can you hear me? I don't hear anything from Browns Boy. Do you hear anything from him, Brent?
No, sir.
No, neither do I. Okay. Well, we'll just keep rolling with the punches and see what happens. So, what I'd like
So
to
what?
know, since I go ahead, Brent. You have something?
No, but back to the you were talking about. It's the Bible Belt. The crazy thing is, there's magic all over this place, and especially like in the Ozark Mountains. I mean, there's folk magic everywhere.
Is there?
And,
Yeah, that's good to hear.
but the thing is it wouldn't be called that.
Right.
You know, but people do stuff. People growing up, their grandmother would say something about this or that. Don't do this. Don't whistle in the dark. Things like that. You may have heard that. Don't go
Yeah. For
whistling because you'll bring something home. Uh, just stuff like that. And
yeah.
other.
I like that interesting folklore and superstitions and wives' tales and stuff like that because a lot of it comes down to us from our ancestors in that region. I'm not sure of your ancestry. Do you know much about your ancestry, Brent?
I I know that I have some Irish ancestry, some German ancestry, and Cherokee ancestry.
Okay, you
Uh,
have some Cherokee mixed in. That's interesting.
yeah. So on my father's side, my grandfather, my dad's dad, his mother was full Cherokee, and his father was almost. So my great grandmother was full Cherokee. My great grandfather was almost full Cherokee. And then on my
Okay.
mother's side, there's Native Americans as well, like
Yeah,
Sioux, Cherokee.
very good. Yeah, I don't have any directly in me, but I have a stepsister from like one of my mom's first kids that was before my dad, but she is half. So her father was a Blackfoot Indian, not Cherokee, but Blackfoot. But yeah, the
Right.
Cherokee are big in Tennessee. I didn't know that as far as Arkansas, I think the Cherokee are mostly East Tennessee, right?
They're all
Yeah,
over. I mean, the Trail of Tears runs right
Trail of
through.
Tears, right, right.
Yeah, the Trail of Tears is like right through where I live. It's
Mm,
there's signposts everywhere. They
yeah.
talk that that identify it. As far as Cherokee, I had someone actually tell me that some of those tribes ended up even in Mexico, if you can believe it, which is
Oh,
kind of
sure.
crazy, right? I didn't
Yeah, I
know
don't
that,
doubt it.
but yeah.
Yeah, good magic in
But
your
I
place.
the only reason
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying the only reason why I brought that up is just to the fact that yeah, it's the Bible Belt, but there's magic all over the place. You know,
Yeah, so I'm curious. You had mentioned that. Do you have a personal interest in magic? Have you studied it all, like some of the works? And a moment ago you mentioned familiarity with Crowley. So do you have a personal interest in like ceremonial magic or ritual magic or shamanism or any of the other?
yes, I do have a practice. Um, um, I do some ceremonial magic, more Golden Dawn inspired, and and some witchcraft practices when needed, and
Okay, very
energy.
good.
I like the energy magic is something I like to do
Awesome.
at times.
Have you have you had the opportunity to learn any of the like basic systems of qigong or like Taoist internal meditation or anything like that?
The closest I did martial arts when I was a kid, and I have done some qigong. I actually have there's a guy that I'm friends with or an acquaintance with who teaches qigong in the area, and I've done some work with him, not a lot, so I am familiar with that system.
Okay,
Um,
good. Yeah, I was just curious because qigong, I feel qigong and Taoist internal meditation can give a great supercharge to your magical practice. If nothing else, like having good energetic posture as you go through form and like commands and stuff will give you like and with your foundation in martial arts, you'll also have that good linkage between body and mind. That's one of the big things a lot of young practitioners have to overcome is that the mind scatters easily in this modern, this modern day of all kinds of electric stimulation and stuff. And so that's a good foundation with which to approach magic. It also gives you the diligence to memorize ritual, right? Chaos practitioners, of course, they're not going to use the ritual. They're just going to use like cognitive mind forms and egregores and stuff like that. Whereas if you endeavor to do ceremonial magic or masonry, right, there's actually a lot of like ritual that needs to be memorized so that you do it correctly. And there's reason for that. People might not see what the reason is, but like for example, you mentioned familiarity with Golden Dawn. When you do the LBRP, you're imprinting this symbology into your psychic aura, and so that it can actually function. So like with martial arts, I'll make an analogy. With martial arts, when you do a form and you practice that form over and over and over again, the idea is to take it from the level of awareness by putting attention on it and then ingraining it into your knowledge and understanding, which will make it go from like a relative memory state into like deep memory, which becomes second nature or instinct, so that it functions autonomously, right? Someone grabs you, you don't think about what move to do. That move just happens. That's what's known as real kung fu. And in that your second nature is to respond in a fixed format, right? And
right.
yeah, so that makes sense and overcomes whatever it is they're doing, right? So let's see. Brown's Boy's trying to come back in, so we'll see if we can get him to join us. Brown's Boy, is your microphone working now? Still nothing. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so I'm just trying to, since this is the first time we've actually spoken. Now you're the Brent that is in the chat routinely, right? You tune in quite a bit.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. And you're calling me sir, so I'm assuming you're a young man.
I know. I'm 49, so
Okay, wow. Yeah,
I
very
just do
good.
it in respect. I've never met you, so
Yeah, yeah,
I just that's the thing.
I, I can appreciate it. Thank you for that. Browns Boy, I think is showing a little static, but Browns Boy, I don't hear you at all, man. Are you got something you're bringing forward? Hello, hello. It doesn't sound like it. All right. So I was curious. We're getting into the great work, and so or magnum opus, the grand purpose of life. What do you think, Brent? Do you think that 49? You're right about my age, right? Just a little bit younger than me. Do you think
Um,
that at this point,
can
uh, Browns Boy, is
yeah,
that
yeah,
you?
yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
I
now.
think I
Yeah. How's it going? You
10
got
left. God damn it. Damn.
yeah. You've got a bit of static in your and maybe a bit of a
Dude, I
delay.
got a 30-second lag, bro, at least. I'm gonna try to like,
Okay. Wow. All right. It sounds like he's having some frustration and troubles there. Anyway, so I was going to ask you the question, like, um, do you think you've kind of figured out at this point in your life what you're up to and what's going to be the next step for you and stuff like that?
Man, I'm evolving constantly. Um, my my life has changed. Well, since I actually started practicing magic, period, uh, it's been kind of crazy. I remember the first time that I ever did an LBRP, and of course I learned it out of Donald Michael Craig. book, you know.
Nice,
The
nice.
Yeah. And I remember the first time that I did it, and I I knew something happened. I didn't know
Just since you
exactly what happened.
just since you
Yeah,
mentioned it, I had to pull it off my altar. It, it's one I've kept on my altar since back in my early days. Go ahead though.
but I knew something happened. I didn't know exactly what happened, but I knew something had happened, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa!" You know, it's this stuff is it's real. So something occurred. Uh, I had weird experience. I just kept doing that. That was the first thing that I learned how to do, and I was doing it. I just did it every day, and then of course I started doing the invoking form as well.
Oh
Uh,
wow, check this out. Serendipity. I just opened it and there was a bunch of money stuffed in here. Nice. I'm getting paid.
Rainy
I'll
day
take that out.
fun.
Yeah, I'll take that out and stick it in my drawer. Nothing like
But
finding money. Yeah,
I just knew that
continue.
something had happened. And and then when I did my first middle pillar for the first time ever, um, that was crazy. I didn't know what was going on, but the after effects, it was like, I mean, something was charged, and there was definitely energy moving, and it was crazy. It was kind of freaky actually. Um, and and I just I kept at it, kept on with it, and I still practice. And I learned a lot more. That was what 20. I'm gonna say 2018 when I actually started even studying any of this stuff.
Okay.
20,
So it's been a few years. Oh.
and you know what? It was a certain series that actually got me even interested. Was do you remember who Bill Cooper was? And
Vaguely.
he had
Was he a
well,
comedian?
he was no, well, he was a conspiracy theorist,
Hmm. Yeah, I recall.
and he did a series called Mystery Babylon, and it was a
Okay.
pretty long series where he actually goes into history of the mystery religions, things like that, secret orders, things like that. Um, that's what actually got me interested because I grew up Christian, of course, grew up in church, studied the Bible for a long period of time, and of course, all your information, especially in regards to the occult, witchcraft, is all filtered through that lens. And and I got a lot of bad information after. Of course, I didn't know this until after I started researching, but it kind of pissed me off actually. Um,
Yeah, I can
and
imagine. I had very similar type of thing. Like I was raised uh, in a Lutheran private school for the first part of my life, and I really liked it a lot. But I found a lot of disenchantment because there was no methodology for these so-called miracles, and I wanted more from life. I thought if there is a connection to God, then it should be immediate. We should be able to call upon the angels and receive, a sort of response from this thing. It shouldn't just all be fantasy and paintings and singing in choir. Like we need to get out there and figure out like where we lost our connection. And even at a very early age, like in my mid-teens, I started picking up grimoires from the bookstore. Like one of my very first books was Arthur Edward White, complete book of ceremonial magic, and in it,
Right.
the first thing he's doing is talking about King Solomon's Goetia, and I thought, here's real magic. Why is none of this taught within
Right.
our churches? And he's an esoteric Christian. He was a Rosicrucian, Arthur Edward White, the guy who
Right.
started the tarot. And so I
Right.
got my first tarot deck when I was like 12 or 13 or something, and I immediately realized that there was a far superior store bank of knowledge within our tradition that was totally covered up. And in fact, like you said, was vilified and deemed as sorcery and evil and black magic and shit like that. And I'm like, garbage. These guys are stepping into a magical circle, invoking the protection of the archangels and speaking directly to Jehovah with the Tetragrammaton and pulling down the energy of the celestial realm and then bringing it into the prime material plane. And I thought, what's wrong with that? That's absolutely what God would have us do. So I think that, yeah, they were missing the mark by falling on their knees and in my mind somehow committing the idolatry of using faith in Jesus, and it seemed very weak and like beta cuck bullshit to me, man. So that's just
Yeah,
my opinion.
I would agree. I got really irritated because one of the highest things, especially within Christianity, um, one of the highest things is supposed to be truth and telling the truth about things. And um, in my research, I'm finding out a lot. Well, this goes back to Freemasonry. I mean, there's a ton of things said about Freemasonry that's just absolute garbage. You know, uh, and the truth's not told about it. It's told. It said that Freemasons are Satanists. Freemasons control the world. Freemasons, and it's the same with a certain other group of people. It's the exact same thing that's said, uh, and it's all garbage. And so it just kind of made me question. Well, if you're not telling the truth about this, then you should certainly be stretching the truth about other things as well. Uh, you know, at least have the balls to just tell the truth. You don't have to agree. There's certain groups of people, certain religions in the world today that I completely disagree with, but I don't have to come up with these fantastical ideas about it to have a disagreement with it. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with
Uh,
that.
there's
Are
plenty,
are you?
there's plenty to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
argue about or talk about without lying about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then like sometimes prominent Freemasons get come into the public eye, and maybe they're involved with things that people are suspicious of, and as a
Mhm.
result they cast aspersions against the entire order, which each lodge manages itself with its own imperator, right? So there's there's a unified mission, but the unified mission of Masonry is the alleviation of the suffering of every man, right? So that's the highest ideal. If you want to think of the Freemasons as a larger group, like that's what they're about, essentially, right? The great work is to alleviate suffering and
Right.
improvement of man, right? So that's if any individual lodge or individual brother is doing something else, then that has nothing to do with the whole body. And so I think that's sometimes where like the grand conspiracies come from. And they say, oh well, it's only going to be the upper 3 degrees that know what's really going on. I
Conven- Convenient excuse. Yeah, and well, I agree with it. And I've actually heard that said before. Well, it's the lower degrees don't know anything about what we're telling you. and these are people that aren't even involved. You
Right,
know,
right.
supposedly they know the highest secret. You know,
Yeah,
you're
so
just a,
they're garbage statements oftentimes by the uninitiated. I mean, even what was the first degree, I believe, is it fellow craft? See, I was just like, no, entered apprentice. So even an entered apprentice, if they actually meditate upon the ritual and ceremony and try to kind of figure out what's going on, they can have breakthroughs beyond the veil and perceive the highest degrees directly because it's encoded degree by degree. Like it's all there from the very beginning, right? From the first initiation, and it's not like there's anything hidden at the top, but people like to think that, right, in order to um I don't know, again, to support their vilification of the thing, right, to make it's evil, you know. And that's not at all what's going on. In fact, it's
right.
probably one of the highest forms of good. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. That's why I guess the lower levels, they swear secrecy and not to reveal certain things to the. Like Jesus said it too, because he was a Mason. Do not cast your pearls before swine; they will swallow them up and then devour your flesh. Right, and so there's a
Right.
certain there is a certain amount of keeping things unspoken. I wouldn't say keeping them secret, but at least keeping them unspoken to the general masses. And I haven't learned to appreciate that as much because I'm not in I haven't been initiated in the Freemasons, but I've been initiated into peripheral orders like Golden Dawn when I was pretty young, my early 20s. I joined a Golden Dawn group, and then I joined a group of Thelema, right? So OTO, which I honestly, Thelema left me with a bad taste in my mouth because many of the people in the groups that I had encounters with idolized Crowley, which is something you never want to do in any order. You don't want to just choose one person and then try to turn it into a cult. I find that to be um, missing the mark, right? Because the highest glory goes to God in my mind. And
Right.
then the reason I mentioned all of this is because I wanted to ask you if you have heard about Poke Runyon and the Church of Hermetic Sciences and his branch of like what's called the OTA or the Ordo Templi
Mm-hmm.
Astarte. Are you familiar? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have his. I have their book actually, their grimoire. Uh,
Is it
mm,
Solomonic Magic? That one?
yes. I think it's the second edition.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Oh, that just came out recently, right?
Right. Yeah,
Good
I
magic.
actually got that from off of Amazon. Actually, it was actually kind of pricey to be honest with you, but it's
Yeah. Up
self-published, so
to what?
uh, it's self-published, so I understand the expense. I mean, it was
Mm,
probably costly to even print. Uh, I am familiar with the OTA. Back to your question, they recently put out a. You can get it on YouTube. It's a documentary, actually. It's
mm.
called American Magic, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Have
seen
you
it.
heard of it? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I received initiation into the OTA in 2019, and I flew specifically back to the United States to California just to attend the Adonia ceremony at Poke Runyon's Silverado Ranch in Southern California. It's in Orange County, right outside of LA. And so I flew
Okay.
back specifically just to receive initiation from the OTA, and it was a beautiful ceremony. And a lot of magical things happened around getting interest in Poke Runyon. And his, I don't know how long he has for this earth, but at that time he was still doing pretty good. But I hooked up with a lot of the higher members of his group. Uh,
Uh
uh, Frater Solomon, who's in Pasadena, California, and Frater, a couple of other, the person who's actually heading up his YouTube channel now. I made a deep connection with him, Frater Sith Meth,
the
and
guy, the guy that's like his caretaker, or he's kind of like his assistant or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know what his name
Yeah, it's Frater Sith method. We're in
Okay, okay.
yeah, we're in correspondence over Gmail, so I've spoken to him routinely, and I haven't emailed him in a while because I'm really bad about email. But
He
yeah,
seems like a cool guy.
yeah, oh, he's fucking awesome. He's the one that read the on if you've ever listened to Poke Runyon's show, The Hermetic Hour.
Hmm.
It's available on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, that kind of thing. I
I've
do.
heard a couple.
Okay, I don't know if they're all here on YouTube or not. They should do that. Think they should endeavor to make them all available on YouTube. But he did an essay about the Arbitel of Magic, and
Hmm.
he read it on the Hermetic Hour one time. And Arthur Edward Wyatt did. I think he pulled from A. White's Arbitel of Magic.
Okay. I have a copy. I have a copy of the Orbital. It's done by Joseph Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's pretty cool. I haven't
Okay.
really I haven't I haven't like delved into it like hardcore, but from what I've read so far, it's pretty.
Well, if you started with modern magic and you do Golden Dawn aligned stuff, the Solomonic magic, I think it's a good addition to your practice, but you might not want to necessarily like rewrite everything. Like Poke uses the Phoenician alphabet, right?
Okay.
In a different color, Greek, I believe, or I believe it's the Phoenician. Anyway, he uses a different alphabet. He added a couple of extra letters. It doesn't correspond exactly to all of the old Golden Dawn material because it's been updated. And then, but understanding like the creation of the magic circle, and I don't know if you saw the way he does it or not, but he actually uses wood and then paints the wood and then makes a physical magical circle that you can lay out in your ceremonial space. And there's an actual
Okay.
physical Solomonic triangle of art with a dark mirror in it. And so understanding like the difference between using the shoe stone and the dark mirror, and then where the triangle of art actually sits. I think all of that research is hugely, what's the word I'm looking for? Instrumental in refining your practice if you are deeply interested in it. I do a lot of mine just on the astral, but I have started to acquire the accoutrements of the altar. Like I've crafted my own pentacles and magic wands, and I know that Chick and Tabitha Cicero still do like wood carved items that you can buy. I believe they're in Florida. They wrote like the
Hmm.
book Self Initiation into the Golden Dawn, which is all quite expensive. Oh, and in the future, if I would have known before you bought your copy of Solomonic Magic, which again I've seen them on Amazon and they are quite pricey. I think it's $25 US. If you join the Church of Hermetic Sciences, Poke Runyon's OTA correspondence course, like if you become an associate member, you send
Okay.
25 yeah, you send $25. You get the book for free, and
Mhm.
it includes all the DVDs plus like an entire envelope of discount coupons for all his other works. And he has all of them available like at his ranch. Like he has a big storage like shed where he keeps all of his self-published books, and he'll send them to you directly, and they're super discounted. So I ended up getting but it's a first edition. I don't think he's doing that with the second edition. But he's got like all of his Equinox. I think it was Equinox. No, the Seventh Ray is what it's called. His publication in the 1970s. So
Yeah.
he's got all those. Yeah, he's got all those available. He's got his novel available. He's got a bunch of different stuff available that you can get through his associate members program. And then it makes you like basically a lifetime member to be able to go to any of his. Um, he does four per year. He does four ceremonies per year where everyone can come to his ranch and like participate in the ceremonies. It's a bit of it's a bit of a thing traveling and stuff. It can be quite expensive, but I mean, what a thing! It's wonderful. He's got like a full on like wizard's tower with like astronomical equipment in the top, and like I talked about it one time on my channel here and posted a bunch of pictures and stuff. But if you join, then you'll get access also to his portal, where people correspond and take pictures of the ceremonies and talk about being there and talk about, what's going on with Poke and stuff like that. So it's kind of good fun, but it's one way to save a ton of money on some of that material.
Don't you think that that guy's accent is like really awesome? Like that was like actually that's what drew me to that guy because I was like, this guy sounds like a cowboy, like a actual. I mean, he just has that accent, his voice. Yeah, I was
Yeah. Yeah, he's
I
the real
really,
deal. Yeah, and his
and I was
robes, man, like he's got the most beautiful Solomonic robes that like he created himself and stuff, and like his whole house. Like I slept at his house that night after initiation
like,
because we were
wow,
doing the yeah, we were doing the I got there early. I got there like 3 hours early just so I could help him set up. I'm like, do you need extra hands setting up and stuff? And we did like a potluck dinner and we did the full ceremony. He had like an actress from Hollywood or young, beautiful young lady come out and play the role of Astarte in like full ceremonial garb. Everybody was in full ceremonial garb. It was such a wonderful experience, man.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
His little retreat there is called Rivendell, which is funny. I guess that's based on like the what is
I think
that?
that's in some series. I think that's out of some kind of series.
Yeah, the Lord of the
Living there.
Rings. I believe that's where that
Yeah.
comes from.
Nah,
Anyway,
he's a
really
he's
good
a
fun.
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he cut me off though when I refused to move back to California. I told him I'd been living in China and stuff like that. And he said we used to have a magician in Beijing, but I guess that guy passed away. And he said he headed up a branch of the OTA here in Old Peking. And I said, I'd like to take on that role. And he said, I don't know if I can trust you. You've been there so long. And I thought I thought that was kind of yeah, it was funny. I thought that was kind of xenophobic on his part, and but he was being playful.
Yeah.
When some of the other magicians asked me about like my preliminary work, because you need to do a certain amount of work before you can receive the Pastophorus initiation, like grade of neophyte, and so
Hmm.
that's what I received. And he said, "Oh yeah, he's done the work." But anyway, it was a very very worthwhile experience, and I continue to consider myself a lifetime member of the OTA, and I'm eventually coming home. Like I didn't plan on staying in China forever, so I'm going to set up my own retreat there in Tennessee because I have land still in Tennessee, and so one day I'll be back there working my magic and trying to put my library back together. Like I had everything figured out when I was a kid, man. By the time I was 19, I had an entire library of like probably 500 books from the esoteric tradition and the occult. And I had it all stored away. I'd bought a house. I was going to college. And I had it all set up for my future retirement. I had treasure in there, all my father's gold and silver and all kinds of different stuff. And my older sister, when my mother passed away, because I let my mom and my brother move in there, but they both passed away during COVID. And then I had an older sister live nearby, and she let her daughter go in there and loot my house. And so like her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend, they're like early 20s type young people, I think drug addicts or something. They went in there and they destroyed my home, and they stole my rifles and all my father's gold and stuff, and they sold it all and for crack or whatever. And they took like a lot of my esoteric books into the yard and burned them and said they were Satanism, or whatever. And
While
so I
they're
went home.
stealing stuff, while they're stealing
Right,
all your
right.
it's satanic. What a that's the kind of that's the kind of thing we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was heartbreaking, like, and it took me a while to get over that psychically. But eventually I went back and I secured the home and boarded everything up and hired like a property manager to maintain the yard, because you have to cut the grass. And so I'm paying like $50 a month during the growing season to have my 50 to 100 depends to have the yard
Yeah.
maintained, stuff like that, and pay my taxes. because I never wanted to lose my stuff or my connection with the U.S. I'm going on my 25th, 26th year here in China now, and I come home every couple of years, and I would even come home and visit, and like my sister and stuff, I'd give them tons of like gifts and stuff that I bring back from China, and like give them money and stuff if they needed it sometimes, and I thought I had earned credit with like the family. Like I always sent my mom money all the time. And even my brother, like one time my brother called me, he's like, I need to get new tires on my car, but I'm broke, can you send me $500, this kind of thing all the time. I was always, it's not like I lost connection or value with them, but then drugs kill people. Now, I mean, drugs ruin people's minds sometimes. And
Oh, bro,
that's bad.
it's crazy in some of these cities now. It's crazy. I don't know if you're keeping up with it, but yeah,
I've seen that it's changed. Yeah.
you're talking about the Sentinel, man, and that's no joke. Like, there's entire neighborhoods, man, in uh, like in Pennsylvania. I think like in Pittsburgh. Well, even in L.A. I mean, well, you're familiar with L.A. I mean,
Lower
there's
Alabama.
yeah, they're man, it's bad. It's bad. It's like tent cities, and it's just full of drugs. It got
Yeah, and
really bad.
it was starting when I left too, like with Oxycontins and stuff. Like people were just already getting tons of opiates, 30 years ago.
It's
And then
so
it just
far
it
behind that now, you know.
but the fentanyl's deadly. Like so
Yeah.
many young kids are, I think, what is it, 1 gram can kill you?
Well, yeah, and now there's stuff that's hitting the streets that supposedly is 1,000 times more potent than fentanyl. So yeah, yeah, for real, man, and like that's no joke. And in California, man, it got really bad, like in San Francisco and places. I think it's getting a little better now. They're kind of starting to clean it up a bit, or at least they're trying to. But the police are afraid to police because they get sued.
Hmm. Well, in some of those small towns, like I said, the PD are directly involved in the seizing and distribution of it. At least the state troopers are trying to get it inter trafficked wise, before it hits
Right.
its source. But there's a lot of police departments that are just fucking thick in it, and it's a part of their game. They let
Yeah.
that shit go out through their distributors, and then they know exactly who's getting it, whose lives they're ruining. Then they round them up. They're able to seize their property, throw their fucking
Mm.
kids in prison. It's an entire racket.
It's because there's so much money involved and greed.
Yeah,
Greed.
lawyers, judges, little town
Yeah.
cops. It's rampant, and yeah, I hope there is some various levels of involvement that can try to root it out because it's destroying the inner fabric of America.
Well, look what it's done to Mexico.
Done by design. It's not
Um,
Freemasons that are doing that.
it
Fuck
was
no.
not. Um, I mean, basically, Mexico is a failed state. It's a narco state. It's ran by the cartels. The government is ran by the cartels. The current president, Claudia Sheinbaum, is ran by the cartels. And it's a. I recently one of the main there's a cartel. It's from Jalisco. They're called the New Generation Cartel. You probably heard of them, but their head guy got whacked a few months ago. And according to, well, I don't know who all was involved, but supposedly it was a joint operation between the U.S. and Mexican law enforcement. But they whacked the guy recently. Of course, it's a snake. They cut the head off of one snake, and another one rises up. I think like his stepson is in control now of that particular cartel. And the U.S. has offered Mexico help until the times if they really wanted to start whacking people, we've offered, but they don't want it. They said they don't want any U.S. military involvement in Mexico.
Right.
So, because
Yeah.
we were going to start bombing, like there was a plan. There was a plan early on under Trump's first during the first presidency, after 2016, they drew
Okay.
plans, military plans, and they were going to start leveling mountains if need be. I mean, they were about to get serious with it, and Mexico freaked out and like, no, no, we don't want that, we don't want that, and but I don't know.
Well,
Uh,
it may in fact still become a necessary step at some point because it for preservation and like the betterment and the future growth and stuff like that, it absolutely cannot continue like this this path of destruction. I mean, I know some of the elites feel like it's a necessary culling of the dummies who would involve themselves with it, but at the same time, that's overlooking the like the completion of the great work. These types of things that are insidious in nature and extremely detrimental to the well-being of society at large, they have to be rooted out. And as individuals, like even with like use of tobacco and alcohol, these things need to be regulated and mitigated to a good extent. And cannabis, like those are the three evils, caffeine or whatever, and sugar. These we've allowed some products that are the lesser of the evils, so to speak. But these
right.
other more hardcore mind opiates and stuff like fent, coke, um, heroin, this type of thing. It's a reversal of the opium wars. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese were sought upon during like the Eight Great Powers when they moved in here in the middle of the 19th century, and the British Empire was involved in the distribution of opium within China. And now all these precursors are coming out of their factories and then making their way into South America and then being mixed up and sent into the United States. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a reverse, it's like a reverse karmatic retribution of the opium wars to some extent. But it wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. that was involved in that; it was the United Kingdom. Right? The U.S. in fact had their interaction with China during that period. I would say was very different from any other. In fact, there was a Masonic lodge here in Peking until 1950. So yeah, yeah. When they turned over to the new Republic of China, the what do they call it now? The Yeah, ROC, right? Republic of China. Is that correct? People's Republic, PROC. Yeah, they shut it down because they didn't want like that type of outside influence. But it's still here. There's still a relationship, and I would say personally, like I've built my whole life upon it, that a better relationship between China and the U.S. is essential for a planetary reformation. Um, Now they're aligning with the Middle Eastern world and the Islamic world, and they're bringing in that influence. And I don't think it's as valuable. I think that even though the Chinese, at least the mainlanders, have kind of a stated atheistic standpoint, I guess that's like their official stance. Um, I would think there's room for reform, and that type of thing can be changed over time. There are hundreds
Talking
of
about the
millions
issue
of.
of Islam? Are you
Go
talking about
ahead.
Islam? Are you
Yeah.
speaking? Are you talking about Islam reforming?
No, I'm talking about the fact that China. I'm focused mostly on China because that's what I understand a
You,
little bit. But yeah, I would say that I don't know much about Islam, but I don't think that they have any interest in commingling with.
they don't. They're only interested, especially with if you're talking about hardliners, like for instance, like the twelvers, like they're called the twelvers, like you have in Iran. Uh, no, they're not interested in commingling. They're interested in subversion and
Dominance.
dominating eventually with Islam. Uh, my personal opinion about Islam is that it's really not a religion. It is a political system LARPing as a religion. And
Yeah, there's
I've stated
probably
that
fractions of that. Yeah.
um, because the teeth, Islam's teeth is in Sharia, and without Sharia, Islam has no teeth, and that is its political system. It's legal. It's it's laws. Um, but and right now in the United States, you've got several pockets where Sharia is trying, where groups and organizations, certain organizations are trying to establish Sharia even within the U.S. And it's a very dangerous situation. What you've got in Minnesota, you've got, well, Dearborn is completely Islamic.
Yeah, I've been seeing some stories and hearing something about that, and it seems really baffling to me. And a lot of those are Somalians, right, that were brought in. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
there are a lot of Somalians, and
Yeah, and
that
it's it's baffling to me why the U.S.
For a
government would
magnum
set up an
opus.
Islamic
Main
state
purpose
within the United States
of
and then
Mexican
allow it to flourish, and not only allow it to flourish,
magnum
but
opus.
to empower it with all kinds of government funding. Billions of
Hmm.
dollars we've seen exposed.
um, I believe it's
Why would
being
they do
done
that?
on purpose. If you look at the Iranian, what happened in Iran, well, you had the Persian. You know, Persia had existed 5,000 years before Islam was ever introduced. Had their own culture, had their own religion. They were basically pagan. I mean, they were Zoroastrian anyway. Uh, the Islamists love to use socialists to as the battering ram, and that's what happened in Iran. I mean, you know that it was
Um,
it was a bunch of
yeah,
leftists and then what happened to them after the Islamists took over? The Islamists killed them.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I haven't kept up with that part of the world. It's not like within my
Yeah,
purvey of studies. So I'm honestly, I'm not informed enough about it. But it really does like baffle me as a born and bred American that they would choose to do something like that. I guess it's somehow they feel like I guess creating an enemy within the state is somehow going to make people more alert and maybe get people focused back on building their own lives and strengthening themselves because there are and it's just again I don't understand like the grander plan of what some of the I guess it has to do with the influence of Marxists and communists infiltrating into the US government and so
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
yeah when criminals
DSA,
in US
DSA,
government
uh, you
say
know,
again
the DSA is the big thing right now. You've probably seen it
is
with
it what is
the
no
Democratic,
what is that DSA
Democratic
socialist
Socialists of
oh
America.
yeah
Yeah. Uh, so, and a lot of their leadership are Muslim in the United States.
Yeah, and they're getting positions of prominence. I mean, they're
Exactly.
already at Senate level seats, right? They're positioning someone to run for president next term, AOC.
Uh, exactly. And of course,
You know, she's hanging out with Hassan Piker and
yeah. And
who has sworn
this guy
to
also
destroy the
talks about
U.S.
his
You know,
hate of the country. Openly talks about his hate of the country.
right? Yeah, absolutely. They hate America. They want to burn our flag and burn down and tear down all of our heroes and put our document to the stove and implement, like I said, probably I don't even know what Sharia law is. I've heard the word. I know that it's affiliated with like a caliphate, a worldwide caliphate, and that
Exactly.
there's, you know, some jihad against anyone who doesn't swear allegiance to their particular flavor of God, right? Allah. And again, I just don't know much about it, but I know that it's completely antithetical to American values, and I'm wondering
Yeah.
why it's been allowed to flourish. You know, are the something's going on, so that's definitely weird.
It's well, what I think is, they're master manipulators, and they know how to use the laws in the country against the country
Right.
to attain their goal. So when you start
And
criticizing
some of it.
Islam,
Go
if you
ahead.
start criticizing Islam, well, oh, it's just another religion.
Right.
Don't worry
Freedom
about
of religion.
it. Uh, whereas to me, I find it subversive, and there are already laws in the book about trying to subvert the Constitution or any kind of act of overthrowing the government. There are already laws in place to mitigate that. Why these
Yeah,
laws are?
absolutely. There are.
I don't know why they're not being enforced. I don't know why these people
Yeah.
aren't being raided and arrested immediately and thrown out. As
Yeah,
well.
there should be immediate action as soon as there's evidence of that type of behavior. Browns boy, you're trying to join again. Welcome. How are you, man?
Yes, I just heard you say welcome. How are you, man? So I think I have about a five
Yeah,
second lag. How does it sound to you?
you're sounding good. Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty good.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Um, could you catch me up to speed a little bit? I've tried to. I see the title is. Let me try to remember because I can't see it on the screen. But it's like uh, the great work or magnum opus is your. Can you? I don't know. What were you trying to get people to weigh in on here? Because I think both are maybe
Yeah,
interconnected.
we've kind of wandered far afield. I started with an examination of the so-called letter by Albert Pike about three world wars, and then moved
Okay.
on to the moved on to some of the ideas like the highest ideals of Freemasonry, which is called the
Uh
Great
huh.
Work, and the great work means like one's magnum opus of one's life purpose. And so I ask, like, what is the grand purpose of your life and what is yours? And
Yes.
our conversation has gone pretty far afield. We went into like
Ooh,
recent American politics and like the founding of an Islamic state in
yeah,
Deerfield, Michigan. And we were kind of right there at that point. But yeah, we can switch gears. What are you bringing
I
forward
see.
today? What were you wanting to talk about?
Well, on the religious belief sort of thing. I mean, you're always gonna have extremists that are like seem to mainly be in control most of the time. And these seem to be boxes of perception. No matter how well intentioned they may be. um, and so maybe the boxes of perception, maybe like, and right now we are all three of us, and anyone in the chat box is literally in a box of perception as we speak. So this idea runs very deep. Um, but in terms of the great work, I heard you speak a little bit. I heard this other guy speak a little bit. I haven't. I'm nowhere near as studied, as a lot of the people on here, including you. I mean, I've listened to you. You're in a position where you know it's a interesting position for you, from my perspective, because you are very well studied. and you do have a no nonsense approach, but also, there's I would say there's many people under you uh, when it comes to understanding of what the occult is. And so, this is just from what I've been gathering from listening to you speak. And so I just know there's some things I know, but there's a lot I don't know. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I guess for I think the great work, like you said, is tied to people's. Let's see. The great work would be tied to people's. Well, it's tied to like a greater purpose, and it's tied to people breaking out of what their perception boxes are of their own purpose. Because what I've learned is a lot of these perceptions that are fed to people are very limiting usually. And so, I don't know. There's just a lot going on here, Frank. I don't know where to go with this, man.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Thank you for chiming in and bringing your part forward. Let's look no further than Eliphas Levi. Can you guys see the screen? It says in the occult philosophy, Eliphas Levi, born Alfonso Louis Constant, says the great work or magnum opus is the process of spiritual self-creation, the absolute conquest of one's own faculties, and the complete emancipation of the human will. Rather than just physical alchemy or turning lead into gold, Levi redefined it as an inner psychological and spiritual mastery. So it's got some core meanings here, right? Self mastery, equilibrium, emancipation, different ideas here. So this one under equilibrium, aligning oneself with astral light. What do you guys? What is your understanding of astral light? And are you familiar at all with? Well, what is this? Let's try to refine this. Yeah, that was weird.
Right? It's the actual
Oh,
right.
Yes. So maybe we'll let Brent go first. Brent, we'll
I'm
start
not.
with Brent Brown's boy. If you would wait a second. What do you think, Brent? What is your understanding of the astral light?
No, yeah, I was just asking you a question.
So,
Is that looking
okay.
at material to be worth?
Are we back? Yeah, gentlemen. I think there is a little bit of a lag between each one, so if we just take turns. Brown's boy, you want to go first?
Sure. I'll go first, unless my mic is too bad, and then you can let someone else go. Or is it okay for me to
No,
go?
you're good. Yeah, you're good. You're perfect.
Okay, so astral light. So like a lot of this stuff has to do with inner work, and so because the exterior world, has these systems that are and will always be there, and their function is to just kind of help. So like shaping your inner world is important. Um, and so I think maybe it comes down to like being versus doing. And so being includes authenticity, and it includes like it includes principles, and principles means first things first. And there's just a lot going on here, Frank. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm a little bit lost for
Yeah, no,
words here.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
Yeah.
Let's let Brent give it a shot. Brent, what about you? What are some of your thoughts on the idea of the astral light?
It, I kind of view it as a material, like a spiritual material that is used to um, to mentor with. I don't know if that's even close to what it's supposed to be. It seems to be something that it can be worked with.
I didn't mean to drop you, Browns boy. I brought you back, but you do have some feedback on your mic, so I am going to mute it for a second. Okay, I didn't hear what you said, Brent.
No,
Sorry.
it seems to be something that you work with to get some sort of result with.
Okay, so Dr. D comes forward. He says the astral light is the sun in all its conceptions and connotations. Very good. All right. So I'll give you guys a little bit of my understanding, which I think I derive mostly from Eliphas Levi's understanding and Israel Regardi in the operation of magic directly. So not too broad of a spectrum. When we start the process of internal visualization, right? Like if you're daydreaming and you're seeing thing in bright colors and you put motion to it and all of that, that's you got to close the eyes and use the third, the so-called third eye or the pineal gland. So in this sense, it's like the derivative of DMT within the brain from the pineal gland that creates actual electromagnetic stimulation in the mind so that you can see interiorly or see with the eyes closed, as it were. So, in that sense, it's a basic visualization process that when you can see with great clarity within your own mind, then that is what is the illumination of the astral light within a so called astral realm. Now, to put this into application, there's going to be, like you said, a basic process of something that you utilize within magic. If you do the LBRP, you have to use the astral light to inflame the pentagrams within ceremony. If you liken it to the dreaming mind, when you close your eyes and you go to sleep at night, you wake up in the morning, maybe you recall dreams and you're like, you have powerful imagery that just a moment ago you were completely in abeyance from your physical body. You were paralyzed, right? There's like sleep paralysis. You couldn't move the body and you're in this deep slumber, but at the same time, you have an entire inner visual world that you can see and experience and do things and meet people, have conversations, all of this, right? So the idea of the astral light is to sit in meditation, close the eyes, and awaken the mind so that you can see the interior realm. In my basic process, like if you look at my description in all of my videos, right? I think it's on this one. Let me check. I'll hit the more. Yeah, if you look at my description, I give a basic idea of what's going on with the magic practice that I do. It says, "Greetings, Wayfarer. By the light of the North Star, our paths cross on a grand and mysterious adventure towards spiritual cultivation. The universal concourse the universal concourse of all souls in reunion with Source is our destination. From the depths of the Fathomless Cavern." Okay, so the Fathomless Cavern is the state between waking and dreaming, right? When you go to sleep, you fall into a hypnagogic state. And when you come out of sleep, you come into a hippopompic, if I don't have that backwards. Hypnagogic meaning going into gog or sleepfulness, and the hippopomp like being recalled into wakefulness. So these two barriers are where supposedly the guardian of the threshold stands. And it's basically like an angelic force, an angel or a demon, whichever you may associate it with, that stops you from having consciousness while sleeping and stops you from bringing images back from dreamland, right? So there's two clouds of forgetfulness. Supposedly, these two clouds of forgetfulness, if you as above, so below, right? Then you can expand them to the start and end of life, right? Before you're born and after you die, that there are also clouds of forgetfulness there. So the idea of rending the veil means that you can go beyond the veil of forgetfulness that occurred before you were born. And you can also go beyond the veil that occurs after you die. And you can also go beyond that veil that separates the waking mind from the sleeping mind, because it's asserted by all the way as far back as Plato that the luminous beings dwell within a realm, within our realm, right? They're concentric spheres. They're here with us now, but we cannot see them because we do not choose to see them and dwell with them. But during times of lucid dreaming, you may or may not meet with beings of pure luminous velocity. I forget, this was mentioned recently by someone, but that shine with an inner light. They're not shining with reflected light, they're shining with inner light. Now, the soul of the individual, the divine spark, also shines with that inner light. That is astral light. So I go on though. The fathomless cavern is the darkness of being held in abeyance as a spirit that's floating within darkness, right? Then when you see the light start to form, you're going to pass through different things, and I mentioned them. We have the spectral abodes of the Underdark, which is very cavernous, right? And you start to make your way up and out of the klipoth from the lower seven spheres of the death tree, right, of the tree of life, through the chamber of endless echoes, the labyrinth of shattered mirrors, and then up the ladder of ascent to the ledge of revelation. So I lay out an entire process of, right, where you're going onward and upward beyond Dreamland to the celestial realm and the timeless homeland. The idea of astral light is that, okay, so there's a celestial sphere of the mind, the Dantian, where the astral light dwells within this focused energy, and you start to be able to illuminate beyond the prime material plane. If we imagine the prime material plane as Malkuth and then Yasad as the astral, and then all the spheres above on the tree of life being various spheres of energy, right? The emerald sphere of Netzach and so on and so forth. We needn't get it too deep into it. But the idea of magic is being able to command unseen wuji or dispersed prime energy by way of the astral light to direct the etheric energy, right? The stuff that Tesla mentioned, this electromagnetic energy that's present everywhere at all times, into genuine manifestation. So apportation of, like, say, a coin falling out of nothingness and landing on the table, or a wish or desire being brought into reality in rapid succession from thinking it into it appearing in your world, right? So this is to understand the astral light. And maybe I said too much, but in short, it's the light of the mind, right? And I believe Brown's Boy's back. Would that somehow align with and touch with your guys' understanding of what we're mentioning here?
For me, it does. It's sort of like when you're going into meditation or you're in a ritual and you're trying to focus when you close, or at least in my instance, when I close my eyes and I'm focusing on energy, uh, even within the darkness of my mind, if there's a light, like a tinge of light. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Right.
Uh,
No, yeah, you're hitting on it.
Almost like black light. It looks sort of like black light, and you just that. That's how it looks to me. Uh, and especially if you're like you're tracing pentagrams, if you're doing some sort of pentagram ritual, and you're tracing pentagrams, I see that light, within my mind's eye. I don't know if that has anything to do with the astral light that you're talking about. You are.
myself. Hold on. Okay, I should be back. Yeah, good. No, yeah, you're right. And let's read about what the response we get here. It says, according to Israel Regardie and the teachings of the Hermetic Golden Dawn, the astral light is the universal plastic medium that permeates all space and acts as the matrix upon which the physical world is built. It functions as cosmic storage drive, a medium for magical force, and the bridge between the human psyche and the universe. Regardie synthesized the traditional occult concepts, defining the astral light through specific practical and structural applications. And sorry, guys, I'm getting some feedback here. Give me a second. Guys, I'll bring you back right up after I get through reading a little bit of this because I am getting feedback from someone's microphone. So give me just a second if you would. If you do have time to stick around. If not, that's fine too. The blueprint of physical reality, Nefesh, the invisible pattern in the Golden Dawn materials, Kabbalistic concept of the animal soul or psyche, is described as a subtle body made of refined astral light. Physical foundation. Is it even showing it? Let me see. Yeah, it looks good. Right. Yesod is the foundation. Love is the foundation. The astral framework serves as the invisible energetic pattern upon which the physical body extended and substantiated. Within the sphere of sensation, you okay? Yeah, I was looking for it earlier. You good, man? You up or are you still sleeping? Okay, sleep a little bit, man. Just take your time. The magic mirror. Regardie emphasizes the Golden Dawn teaching that the sphere of sensation, the aura or energetic field surrounding the human body, is a microcosm composed of this astral light. As a cosmic receptor, it acts as the magic mirror of the universe, where all macrocosmic occult forces are projected, reflected, and internalized by the magician. The carrier of, okay, this is going quite a bit far, right? 4, psychological integration. Uniquely, Regardie looked at the Golden Dawn system through a psychological lens. He equated the astral light with Carl Jung's concept of the collective consciousness or the memory of nature. It's not just that, though. It's also the force with which you connect with it, right? As a mental substance, it's the medium which symbols, archetypes, and directed visualizations, this is what I just said, such as mapping the Sephiroth onto the body, shift mere imagination into active psychological and spiritual healing. And we'll finish there because that gives us a broad overview. Now, let me bring you guys back. First, I got to stop this. You guys still here? Yeah, I see Brent.
I was
I'll
going
bring
to
Brent
say,
back first.
Frank,
Oop, are you
so,
there? Can you hear me?
yes,
Hello?
hello?
Okay, good. Yeah.
So
So go ahead. Someone had some bad feedback, so I had.
I was going to say that,
All right.
so
Good.
for it to manifest into Malkuth, it, the blueprint has to be drawn or written in the actual light first. Is that correct?
Yeah, the Book of Life would be the Book of Life would be higher up, right? Like Keter. And as the Ein Sof Or generates its vibratorial frequency from an unknown source, which we consider a mystery, right? And we'll just call God, for lack of a better word, or the Godhead, then all that vibration as it comes down and starts to crystallize into what we see as the prime material plane, right? Yeah, it's Yesod would be the last step of its transmission that is in a form beyond the human mind until it's awakened. Once you receive initiation, then you pass the high priestess and go beyond the veil, and so you're directly in the astral light. As a magician, that's going up the middle pillar, right?
Right.
But yeah, the Book of Life would be far higher up the tree, like where the Grand Architect sits. Yeah, very few people get that high. Would you say in your practice, like, have you done path working and have you elevated yourself up the spheres, and like how high
I,
have you
I've
gotten, would you think?
I've done some. I've done some path working. Uh, I, I haven't done too many of them, to be quite honest.
Have you
But
have you ever shot out the top of the tree beyond Kether and straight into the Ein Soul 4?
I would say probably not.
Okay, it's good fun once you do, man. There's a whole there's a whole new level of shit going on up there, man. A little bit spooky, but like it's at being of the level of seeing and interacting with and experiencing like genuine cosmic forces. It transcends the human experience completely. But yeah, I've done it only a couple of times, but it was good magic, and it kind of reinforces the path working because it does take a long time. Like fuck, I was at a very young age. I did a lot of lucid dreaming and had prophetic visions and could understand psychic forces. And I'm lucky that I encountered folks' teachings like regarding Middle Pillar, Garden of Pomegranates, Tree of Life, so on and so forth. I didn't understand any of those things in my young mind and reading them, but continuing to read them for 30 years and continuing to research, like it all finally started to make sense after practicing Qigong for 25, 30 years. I had accumulated enough energy to start making those breakthroughs rapidly when I hit my mid 40s. So yeah, the work has to be done for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good at energy sensation. Like, I've done like the practice of where you form like an energy ball in between the palms of your hands. Have you?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I can sense that. Like, I feel it. Like, I can feel the vibrations off of it. It's,
Yeah, and try the pouring exercise of temperance. Have you done some study into the tarot? So I could like reference tarot cards and you'd easily
I mean, I'm not
recognize
an
them.
expert. I'm not an expert in it by any means, but I mean,
Okay.
I know about it. I mean,
Yeah, so card 14 in the major arcana is the temperance card and it represents the holy guardian angel. I'll find it really quickly. Ooh, there's the magician. The Hierophant. So you can constantly see throughout the imagery of your basic Rider White tarot deck
uh,
all of the things that reinforce the study of the Hermetics, right? Like this is known as the Book of Thoth or the Emerald Tablets,
right.
according to Crowley, right? So these are supposedly the teachings of our ancient tradition, and then they're brought forth just in a pictorial form. So, trying to find it real quick. So you're talking about like the energy exercise of forming the ball.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, that's working with the astral light.
and I like
Absolutely.
charging water, with it. Yeah, I like to charge
So
like
like
water like that for certain intent,
yeah.
and then
So
drinking.
have you thought about like the the tree of life is superimposed on the body, right? Like with the astral light that we read a moment ago.
Okay,
Like the pillar of severity and the pillar of mercy. What color would you associate with the pillar of mercy?
uh, like a bluish color.
Yeah, the blue spectrum, absolutely. Hesed. And what about the color of the pillar of severity?
Will be like Martian or red.
Yeah, certainly, right? So we have the color spectrum with which and we view between the pillars, right? From the
Mm,
side of severity or the infrared to the side of the blue would be what's that spectrum called? I forget. Ultraviolet,
okay.
right? And so one practice I would recommend with if so you're already at that level, right? Would be so in the temperance card there's an archangel and it's got two chalices, right? Essentially the two hands. And
Okay.
when you're doing if you do it again at any time, you practice, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes or whatever, or 5 to 10 minutes, whatever you want to do. But it's like a basic uh Tai Chi Qigong exercise, and I try not to reveal myself too much here. But yeah, so you seat down on the lower dantian, right? Like yasod, you're sitting on the foundation and you're circulating the energies back and forth, right? Inhale in one direction, exhale in the other. Try to scoop up some of that blue energy and visualize it in blue and visualize it dripping down like opening a chalice and
Okay.
pouring into the other hand as you go across. And then over here, you'll shift it to the red spectrum and pull up the red energy and drip it down. And so imagine it like a liquid force actually going from hand to hand.
So you're
Once you go ahead.
balancing the energies then by doing it.
Yeah, but you're commingling them too.
Yeah.
And I won't tell you what happens, but once you start to commingle that visualization in coordination with your breath and the movement of your body from red to blue, you're going to see
Mhm.
some interesting magic happen, especially if you do it in a mostly darkened room and then do it
Mhm.
with your eyes not totally open, almost in a half sleep state, and
Mhm.
try to evoke a hypnagogic, they call it the astral level of the mind, right? Like that 15 megahertz, I believe. Is that correct?
Probably. Uh,
I forget all the numbers and stuff. But try to get your mind to that oscillation of like right between dreaming and waking. See, people don't see real magic, and they don't actually see, like you said that you mentioned you had see some chi manifest by doing that activity. Um, Most people are overlooking that all the time because, right? What did Slayer say? It was either Slayer or Metallica. I think it was Slayer. In the depths of a mind insane, fantasy and reality are the same.
right.
That was Slayer,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So you're commingling a mind like the dreaming mind, which can actually generate its own world with the prime material plane, and then you're able to quickly see between the two, right? Like, so say for example, you're wondering what's around that next corner. You can do the astral projection or the bi-location of awareness to see around the corner without actually going around it. And maybe you say, okay, well, it would be interesting if such and such a person appeared from around that corner and said hello to me, and then it immediately happens, right? um,
Yeah, that's
I
badass.
wanted Yeah. It starts to work really fast, like so fast that you're careful like of ever desiring anything, because you know that it's just immediately going to appear. And yeah, so you have to start to be wary of that.
What what do you think
Oh,
about the idea of when you're doing magic or spells or anything like that? About they talk about lust for results. About you need to forget what you're even doing the magic for.
ha- yeah, yeah, absolutely right. Do not lust for results. Have you had the opportunity to read Robert Anton Wilson's Prometheus Rising?
No, I have not.
Okay. I would say do the opposite first. Like, go against what they say, because remember Crowley always said everything he was saying was a lie, that it was the book of lies, he was a liar, don't believe anything I'm saying. So when they say do not lust for results, do the opposite, lust for results intently, and then relax and forget about it, right? And think, oh, okay, it's done. So mote it be, right? My will be done on earth as
Right.
it is in heaven. And then start to obviously it takes a lifetime, or not a lifetime, but maybe many lifetimes, but it takes some scientific measuring of those things, right? Like, do I really want this thing to happen? And if I do want it to happen, am I willing to sit down and take a few moments to visualize it and maybe do a little breath work to generate some mindfulness, like some present energy, and then put that energy into the thing by way of the astral light, and then write that all down and say, okay, I sat down, I did 2 to 3 minutes of, like, for example, rapid breathing, and then holding it, and then concentrating the image in the mind's eye, and then letting go of it, and then rinse and repeat. Maybe do that 3 times, right? The theory of thirds. And then write that down. I did that at such and such time under a waxing crescent moon in the second quarter, and take a few notes, and then do it 3 or 4 times, and then forget about it, right? And see if there's anything brought about. Maybe it's just the idea of, like I told you a moment ago, I found some random money, right?
Right.
So maybe you just want some random extra money. There's $100 bill, right? It's equivalent of, like, I don't know, what would it be worth right now? $15 US, right? And so maybe you need a little something like that just to appear, so you can get a little something that you want. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with pulling forward even like money or a new relationship or a new job or anything, because it's all for the greater glory, right? Always keep in mind, I think the real definition of magic and the great work is to keep in mind that by me having some extra money means I could invite a friend to lunch or something, or I could have some extra gas in my car, and at the same time offer someone a ride, right?
Mm.
Always think about that level of extra service that you can provide by having extra. And the more you do that, the more you'll be empowered with. Like me, for example, I wanted to raise a family. And I thought, I'm not going to be able to raise a family unless I have extra funding. And I started receiving so much extra funding that I could have just kept having kids and expanding my family. But I thought, yeah, there's no reason to go to excess, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. But
so there's a statement in the Tao Te Ching that says, he who knows when enough is enough will always have enough. And so if you become endlessly greedy, then you just destroy yourself. But if you think, oh yeah, that's what I wanted, and I got it in a really quick manner by way of God's grace, right? That's what the definition of magic is, really, is receiving God's like beneficence towards us. Then it'll always work. And man, it starts to work so fast. Like in the beginning when I was young, like you're approaching my age, right? So I'm sure you've already done some of the preliminary work. Like I really did lust for results, and it didn't happen as fast as it does now. But now it's almost like really, really immediate.
it's like I still got results, even though that's why I was asking your opinion about that, because
Yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
I still
Answers?
had like results out of things before, even though I didn't just like completely forget about what the whole thing. And I always ask the question like, well, how long do you got to forget about it? A few seconds,
Oh yeah,
a couple hours.
that's a good question.
Like, how long do you got to
Um,
for the subconscious to like let it go and do its thing or whatever?
I would say again, all of those are kind of red herrings, and they're really just setting up intentional blinds. Because in all honesty, you keep it in a state of never really forgetting about it. But what passes them, the third stage of that. So I don't know if you've probably seen my interpretation of what they call in Latin. Let me see, I might have it on this one. It might be on another one. No, it's not on this one. It's on StreamYard, not Restream. Anyway, there's like basically a 3-step process of volantia, or the intention, which I highlight as the eye in the triangle. So we have the volantic state, or the intent of using the astral light to bring about something, and then that's pushed down into decreeism. Decree is where the pentagram is, right? Around me are the pentagrams, and within shines the 6-rayed star, right? This is the alchemical furnace of the 5 organs and the 5 fingers and the 5 nearest planets and the 4 cardinal directions, or 4 Kabbalistic elements, with the element of the quintessence, right? So that's the commanding from the heart center to it manifest in the terrestrial plane. And then the where is it there? Okay, like the lower gate of Yasad, where the Taiji resides, right? The commingling of energies coming and going within the body, and then their manifestation in Malkuth, obviously they're at the bottom where the feet are rooted. Anyway, so you saw that basic pictograph. That whole process occurs within every breath, right? So inhale, and the energy of Keter and the Ein Sof penetrates into Malkuth, right? And then exhale, and the energy of Malkuth rises up and commingles with the Ein Sof. So this process is never ending. It's commingling always. But once you manifest the thought, I'd say 2 to 3 minutes of concentration. And again, like maybe in your youthful part of the practice, you want something really enriching, like a wonderful relationship with a beautiful woman or something. Mm-hmm. And so you'd certainly spend a lot more time on the formulation of that type of idea becoming real in your life. I'd say 30 minutes, and you write out a good description of what it is you're looking for and why it would complement your life, and then focus on that. I would take it when I was younger, before I found my mate, and I'd write it down on a single sheet of paper like this, right? And then trifold it twice so that it turns about that size, right? And then stick it in my shirt pocket, because I like to wear those button-up shirts. But you could stick it in your back pocket. And once I was done with the work, 30, 45 minutes or whatever, maybe 5 minutes of visualization and concentrating, and then maybe saying, a prayer, Ata Malkuth Vegubra Vegudla Leolam Amen, so it is commanded and confirmed, so mote it be, whatever. I use a lot of Chinese ones as well, Jutin Yuan, Leisan Pufa Tiantuan. So say some sort of prayers over it, or even as something as simple as Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Any prayer that puts you into a divine mind state. And then make the wish, carry it with you, you're done. Anytime you feel inspired to look at it and read it, do so. If you need to amend it, amend it. That thing, that magical scripting, I called it magical scripting when I was younger, will happen exactly the way you want it to happen every time. So like one sheet of paper written out in like 3 paragraphs or something, an introductory idea, a body of development, and then a conclusion type thing, will not fail to happen. The part of not lusting for results is the sooner you can stop lusting for the results, the faster it will happen.
Right.
Someone's trying to call me. Someone's trying to call me from Anhui. That's weird. Sorry, guys. I never accept any calls on any of my phone numbers because it's usually advertisements. But anyway, does that kind of help answer your question?
Sure.
Yeah, that's why at this stage in my life, it's so tricky that if I even sometimes have a random thought about something that's like I might in some way be interested in, then like within like a couple of minutes or maybe even a couple of days or whatever, it's right there and it appears in my immediate environment. And I'm like, why'd I summon that? So you start to get to a point where it's good because like at our age, your age and my age, the monkey mind starts to become almost completely silent. And so random thoughts that could cause you trouble will not arise unbidden, right? Like when you're younger, the mind is constantly swinging from idea to idea to idea. But as you get older, that slows down and becomes almost silent.
Did you develop some sort of technique or anything to like help you kind of forget about what or some way of distracting yourself so that you just
yeah, certainly. Yeah, certainly. Like to push things into the third phase, the realm of possism. There are many different things, right? For me, for example, just having the bookends of the LBRP it's absolutely enough, right? So just begin with the Kabbalistic cross, circumambulate the magical circle, summon the triangle of art, put the idea, sigil, or scripting or whatever you want into the triangle of art, and then so mote it be, so it is commanded and confirmed. Then circumambulate after. I would do the summoning of the archangels first, and then before, so that that stage between once you've summoned the archangels and you just stand within the radiance of the circle, then you transfer all E or intention, volantic energy by way of decree into the triangle of art. And then it's done. That's done. That's the magic step. Then you circumambulate again and do the Kabbalistic cross to end the thing. Train yourself well enough in it, and then when you finalize, it should always be done. Like the thing should be done. It shouldn't be disturbing you astrally anymore. And then until it appears again, which can be pretty quick. So I don't know. Do you have something in specific like that might be of interest to you? And before you answer, think about it 3 times. Formulate it into a sentence. Think about it 3 times. Give me just a second. So, delineate. You're familiar with earth, air, water, and fire, right?
Right.
So fire, yod, hey, vowel, hey, right. The yod is the flame. Mm-hmm. The first hey is water. The vowel is the air. And then the last or final hey is earth, right? Okay. So the first thing I would do is think about what is Brent Edwards thinking about and summoning. Make sure the question or intent is firm within the mind of the querent. All right. So I've shuffled 3 times. I've asked heaven and earth, divine spirits and ancient masters. Your son has a question. Please respond to me via the system of the tarot. I will accept this response, whether it shows me good fortune or misfortune. I drew Metamorphosis, M, the 13th card of the major arcana. So I will ask you now, are you contemplating some great transformation in your life?
Yeah.
And if that's accurate, we can continue. But if you were just thinking, I need an extra $100, then it's in no way related to major arcana. I drew the major arcana.
No. This is, I've been thinking about a lot lately about it's more than about.
Okay, so
it's like a change. I've been thinking about a change in the way that I'm doing things. So,
okay, so I can you see what I have on screen there?
The death card, yeah.
Yeah, I drew the 13th card. So by way of letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, M is the 13th letter of the alphabet, and M is muerte, right? Morti, memento mori, the mortal, right? Death, man. But what does this card represent? Does it represent death?
No, to me, it represents a change and something.
Well, yeah, and its zodiac sign is Capricorn, and so it's coming up right in December.
I am a Capricorn.
There you go, right? So you see how accurate the tarot is. The tarot is undeniably accurate, especially in the hands of a trained magician. But what the death card, so what does the death card mean?
Change to me.
It's all synchronicities with M. So at a grand scale, it's metamorphosis, manifestation, materialization, movement, right? There's all these different M synchronistic words in our language, but metamorphosis is the big one, right? It's the passing of the gate from one stage of life into the next. So I'd say that you're looking for a magical metamorphosis through mind control, right? So it's a good harbinger, right? It's a scary thing, but I keep it close to me because I know that it's there. And so what would I suggest seeing the face of the skull? Do you know how many bones there are in the skull?
No.
Okay. Do you know how many letters? Do you know how many letters there are in the Hebrew alphabet?
Oh, I should know that, but I don't.
Do you know how many? Do you know how many tarot cards there are in the major arcana?
Oh, in the major arcana. Isn't it like 22 or
There you go. There are 22 bones in the human skull, which are the celestial teachings. Each one is attributed to a Hebrew letter, and they all manifest as the 22 major arcana. So I would say, remember the skull, Golgotha, the death of the Christ, means just that. You should study the major arcana in greater depth until it's fluid in your memory,
okay?
right? This is the letter mem, right? Memory. Yeah, so commit the major arcana to memory. That's the transformation from neophyte to zealoter. You have to memorize the major arcana, their associated Hebrew letter, their associated bone in the skull, their associated short form, like shorthand of what it means. And then you actually have to project yourself astrally into each card and experience them one by one. That's the definition of path working, right? What is the major arcanic path on the tree of life? Where does death occur? Between which two spheres? How does that feel to transfer from one color to another, from one frequency to another, right? What is that path like? Walking the path of death, and obviously you won't be able to, feel and experience that. I'm not saying die physically for in reality, but like when folks die, like, grandparents and
Mm,
beloved animals and stuff like that, you start to get some feel for it. Anyway,
mm.
yeah, so fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
Again, like Poke Runyon uses the a different alphabet, but I'm still with the Hebrew alphabet because that's where I started. I started like you with modern magic. So it's in three sets of seven. Learn to incant and vibrate them, right? Aleph, Beth, Gimel, Daleth, Hey, Vau, Zain, Tet, Tet, Yed, Kaf, Lamed, Mem, Noon, Quaf, Resh, Sezedi, Quaf, Resh, Shen. That's the last part. Oop, I fucked it up. I haven't done it in a while. But anyway,
Well, you way
Sam,
surpassed me
Sam,
already.
Pei, Zaddy. Yeah, Samakai and Pei, Zaddy, Quaf, Resh, Shen. And then the last one is Tau. All right. So the Aleph and the Tau, or the Alpha and the Omega, God is that thing. So what are they saying when they say I am the Alpha and the Omega? Right. 22
Beginning.
letters. I am the beginning and the end of the mind. Right. This is Golgotha, Skull Mountain.
Mm,
This is it right here. This is where we live and die.
yeah, that's true.
That's why, yeah, that's why the skull is always set at the middle, right? And then there's the two thigh bones for the twin pillars, all right? Mercy and severity. It's all happening right there. And all the Masonic lore, all the occult teachings, it's all there for us to absorb and understand what is this magical process of refining the dross lead of the Dantian into the gold of wisdom, right? That desire to be sexualized and manifest in the world, and then reverting it to be like, wow, I better get ready and prepare to meet my maker, and be washed free of the sins of this world. It's a whole process, right?
Right.
And like you said, when does letting go happen? Well, it happens at the end of life, the true letting go, right?
So the great work is the divine work, right?
That's what it is, right there. Before all things, the creation of man by himself, complete control of his faculties and his future, and the perfect emancipation of the will. Brent, I really appreciate you stopping by, man. You have any final words here for the people? I have got to run. My son just got up, so I got to make him breakfast and get ready for
I
the day.
appreciate you letting me on, Frank. Actually, I've been wanting to come on here for a while. Uh,
And I've been
I
seeing
really
you out there tuning in, man. It gives me inspiration to continue when people show interest. So thank you for that, man.
like talking to you. I I don't know. I don't remember what was the first video that I ever watched that he put out, but I was like, man, this guy's got a good vibe. So, I think I could. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
good
could
magic, man.
hang out with you like if we were somewhere. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know. He is a cool guy, and I'm just I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Blessings to you, beloved. I hope you have a great day. Again, you added a lot of value to the show today. I look forward to seeing you in the future. I am getting some breakup on my microphone, so I'm going to go ahead and drop you to the back. I think that may be my own technical issues. But yeah, good show today, guys. A million thanks to beloved frater Brent Edwards for stopping by out of Arkansas. Man, we're going to be neighbors when I come back. It's going to be a short trip across the old Memphis pyramid to come out there in Arkansas and see. You can interest me in buying some land there in Arkansas. I've got some in Tennessee, so that's where I'm going to be stationed in the near future. Not so near, but within the next decade. Building my wizard's tower and continuing my teaching or my studying. There is no teaching but the great teaching. Yeah, and thank you for everyone that stopped by today. Brown's boy was here in the house trying to get some good magic going on. Dr. D was here. Let's see who else stopped by to say hello. Plasma Void. Everybody good looking out. I really appreciate everybody coming by to say hi. And I think that me and Brent had an especially fruitful conversation today, man. Again, I would cite sources and guys say, seek the truth yourselves. Israel Regardi's Tree of Life and Garden of Pomegranates, his basic essay for free, available on the internet. It's called The Meaning of Magic by Israel Regardi. It's like a 20-page document that's super easy to read, really gives a lot of understanding to the astral light. We started today's transmission talking about Albert Pike, right? And let me see here. We started with Albert Pike and his alleged letter, which I don't necessarily give much credit to, but other people can if they like. And then, yeah, we moved on to things like the astral light as defined by the Golden Dawn, right? The blueprint of physical reality, the sphere of sensation, the carrier of elemental forces, the psychological integration of such a thing, right? That mental substance through which symbols, archetypes are directed, symbols and archetypes are directed through visualization, theurgic magic, right? From the imagination into, he says here, active psychological and spiritual healing. Not just that, but into reality, right? How did Crowley define magic? The art and science of creating change to occur in conformity with the magician's will, right? And then we drew that powerful card of metamorphosis as a bit of a finish to the show, right? And some people see the death card as a scary thing. No, man, it's just reminding us that at some point we all must transition into the worlds beyond. And it's oftentimes, I think I'm still here. I lost my, there we go. Oftentimes, we transition into various stages of life, right? Like they say, when you get married, it's the death of the bachelor, right? And so metaphorically, alchemically, that's what's happening with card 13. And how many were in Jesus's little coven, right? If he were the master magician, did he not have 12 disciples? Do you not, beloved, as a master magician, have 12 zodiac, the zodiacal crown, which surrounds you? All right, so 13, special number there, magic number. I am going to play a bit of music for the people before I sign off entirely for the day. You will have to give me a second, though, because I want to load up a different one. We all come from the Godhead, and to him we shall return like a spark of flame, rising to the heavens. Crone and sage, wisdom is the gift of age. Sage and crones, wisdom's gift shall be own. We all come from the Godhead, and to him we shall return like a spark of flame, rising to the heavens.
Devils down in Judas Mill, one in my heart, one in my soul still, till the last stars decline. This vixen will take more than my wine. Damn the vampires in Judas Mill, take and they take, never get their fill. In the night under the moon's cold glow, they weave spells and secrets that only shadows know. Devils down in Judas Mill won't ever break free from her thrill. Under skies so dark and wide, she'll haunt till the last star dies. Devils down in Judas Mill, one in my heart, one in my soul still, till the last stars decline. This vixen will take more than my wine. Damn the vampires in Judas Mill, take and they take, never get their fill. In the night under the moon's cold glow, they weave spells and secrets that only shadows know. Devils down in Judas Mill won't ever break free from her thrill. Under skies so dark and wide, she'll haunt till the last star dies. Under skies so dark and wide, she'll haunt till the last star dies.
All right, guys. That's gonna do it. Let's see if I can manage the end here in a effective manner. That was Dweller of the Dark, and yeah, you can see his YouTube address right there, guys. Don't forget to check me out on buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. Pull something in the tip jar, guys, and that'll keep the lead in the pencil. I appreciate y'all stopping by today. I remind you, Frank Monday, broadcasting to you from the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone, Old Peak King, once again, like Finn again. So hopefully we satisfied your yen to expand your kin. And we got Zen, baby. I think it was a pretty good show today. Special thanks to Frater Brent for stopping by and saying hi. I think we had a productive and useful conversation. Look forward to lieth at the foundation, for is not love the law, love under will, and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Ad astra per asperum, memento mori, and bye for now.